So YouTube, we got the worst times to ever be a human. Let's see what the worst time to be a human was. Let's check it out.
We humans, members of the genus Homo, have come remarkably far in the 2.8 million years of our existence.
This used to be us.
And a lot of progress has especially been made within the last 200. And today we enjoy unprecedented levels of technology that has helped the worldwide lifespan reach roughly 73 years.
Yo, it's Uncle K?
At birth. However, the journey to get here has not been an easy one, and we've had to endure many hardships.
I was at church.
Sometimes caused.
How was church? What was the lesson today, man? What was the lesson at church?
By our own doing. And this is reflected by the shockingly low lifespans seen across time. For example, in 18th century France, it was between 27 and 30 years old, in classical Greece, 25, the Bronze Age, 26, and during the Neolithic period, it got as low as 20. Yet this being said, Homo sapiens, or modern humans, have had it relatively easy compared to other human species. This is something you should be eternally grateful for, as life as an early human was sometimes downright bull. And it's not too uncommon for paleontologists to unearth an early human specimen who died under very grisly circumstances.
So back in the day, we really had to like dodge grizzly bears and all these stuff.
Now, based on research, it seems that many Homo species suffered such lives. But one study in particular.
Hey, sorry for interrupting. Isn't that annoying? What if I told you there was a way to get rid of ads like this forever?
It's called Chat, should I do this? It's saying that you can get rid of ads forever.
Pi, and if that sounds
found that a certain group, the 2 million year old Homo habilis, had it almost comically bad, and died so often so young that the majority of individuals didn't even live long enough to see their teen years, with the average lifespan having been estimated at about just 12 years old, so more than 6 times less than the current average. And what's crazy is that chances are that it was even lower, as the study looked at 26 random specimens and noted a lack of neonate and infantile individuals, heavily suggesting that the mortality rate was
so people were dying at 12 years old.
In reality much higher, and thus the life expectancy even lower than 12 years old. Such a fast and short life makes the Homo habilis the last human species you'd want to wake up as, and represents possibly the worst time to have ever been a human overall. Which thus begs the question, why were their lives so utterly brutal? Well, unfortunately for them, the answer is
so chat, back in the day, they didn't have Uber Eats or nothing. So they can't just Uber Eats like, a cow. Like, they actually had to go out and kill it.
That virtually everything was stacked against them, including their very own bodies, as Homo habilis was one of the smallest humans to have ever lived, possibly averaging under 4 feet or 1.2 meters, making them 32% shorter than ourselves, and in the best case, weighing just 60% of what we do. Such a small body obviously made them quite vulnerable to injuries, and to add fuel to the fire, they didn't even have any notable robustness to their skeletal structure that would have at least helped them compensate for their lack of size. And it's likely that they experienced at least one serious fall throughout their life because they were partially arboreal, meaning they spent a good chunk of their lives in trees. And given that chimps often experience at least one major fall throughout their lives, the same can reasonably be said for Homo habilis, especially since they weren't as
so we were living so we was living in trees before. You said what? And now after your stream, sleep? I ain't never going to sleep.
Well adapted for climbing compared to chimpanzees. Although, relative to other humans, they were more ape-like overall, a result of them having been one of the first of our kind to enter the scene, with an existence that spanned from 2.3 to 1.65 million years ago. Some of these ape-like features included longer limbs and slightly apish extremities that allow them to better grip while climbing and swing from branch to branch. Now, possessing the ability to climb with ease is of course very useful, especially when surrounded by predators, and in most cases it lets animals easily avoid danger, therefore prolonging their life.
Back in the day, you really had to be careful, chat. Like, you really had to be super careful, because one bad mistake, you're done. Your existence is done. Like, you're pack it up. Like, you're going back to the gulag. Like, you're finna see God early. You know what time it is in my country, bro? Muslim, it's probably like 5 a.m. I know Romania got to be like at least 4 a.m.
However,
Muslim, go to bed.
In the case of the habilis, the benefits of this ability were largely negated, as it was paired with the worst possible diet: carnivorism. Now, you'd think that a human living on a plant would be strictly vegetarian, but the habilis actually exhibited one of the higher levels of meat eating seen in humans, reflected by their very large incisors that helped them cut through meat, and their proportionally giant mandibles that were thicker than those of any living ape or human, which allowed them to generate more torsion and stress while biting, and thus helping to rip meat off of a body. This being said, they did also eat a lot of fruit and vegetables, but their meat-rich diet ultimately forced them to leave the safety of trees routinely, a problem exacerbated by the
So everybody was like a carnivore? We only ate meat 24/7, just straight meat. Alright, RK, peace out, bro.
Their fondness for fish, which brought them close to water, and thus the dangers within. And it wasn't just meat that was the problem, but also how they got it, as for some reason, Homo habilis decided to specialize in scavenging, of all things, which is almost funny considering their small size, lack of large muscles, and limited technology that consisted of simple stone tools.
Wait, so chat, they didn't have a gym back then? So like I couldn't, like, let's say I couldn't go hit the gym? That's crazy, no gym?
In other words, they did not—
Hold on, chat, my Fortnite. Quiet.
Not have much to help them secure kills. And one group of paleontologists found that at best, they would only be able to reliably defend carcasses from jackals and cheetahs. This meant basically nothing though, as Homo habilis, who lived in East and South Africa, was surrounded by not one, but multiple large carnivores that would frequently show up to contest carrion. And to make matters worse, these same predators also routinely preyed on the habilis themselves, as these early humans were, for lack of a better term, easy pickings. And so, if you are a Homo habilis, you can be sure that on the daily, you live under the constant threat of being picked off by a very diverse range of different carnivores, that, mind you, each had their own unique terrible way to dispatch you. So I guess—
What? So you was never safe. Chat, you was never safe. A whole tiger could have came up behind you and ate your head up, man.
At least there's some variety. For now, direct evidence of interactions between predators and habilis are quite rare. But when looking at time and general vicinity, over 30 potential predators have been identified, with large—
Sorry, bro, when we playing Fortnite today? Nah, you're good. You're good. Muzzle, you gotta sleep, bro. You gotta sleep. Out of anybody, you need the most sleep, Muzzle. So, bro, go to bed. Like, literally, bro, go to bed. Sleep. Because I'm telling you, Romania is no joke. You need all your 8 hours, bro.
Cats in particular, having had a profound impact on destroying their lifespans. One of the most prevalent ones lurking around would have been the Megantereon, a jaguar-sized saber-toothed cat that lived throughout Africa for the entire span of the habilis' existence. And despite being jaguar-shaped, it was more heavily built, and alarmingly had lower limbs that were actually lion-sized. These limbs possessed giant paws at the ends of them where razor-sharp recurved claws sat, just waiting to dig into the flesh of any unsuspecting Homo habilis. Once pinned, the habilis would then get to experience an array of sharp and serrated teeth, including 2 enlarged canines that would sink into their throat, severing major arteries and nerves, and fortunately leading to unconsciousness within seconds. However, unfortunately, there's also the chance that an unlucky victim would have had to experience the more rare, but much more terrifying killing method of having its entire head virtually covered by the attacking saber-toothed cat.
Yo!
And miraculously, this actually happened to—
Nah, that's probably the worst, bro. That's probably the worst. A whole tiger coming to eat your brains out?
a known human specimen, who had puncture marks to its occipital bone. In other words, the back of its head. But what's crazy is that the angle of the bite confirmed that the attack did not come from the back, but rather the front, which basically means the Megantereon put the entire—
I don't like writing essays, but here are my marks for them.
So
bestie, I'm going to tell it to you.
human's head in its mouth. And the idea is that on top of causing skull and brain damage, such an attack could kill by completely smothering the victim's nose and mouth with a saber-tooth's jaw, leading to suffocation. And in a case of more bad news for our distant relatives, the Megantereon had a very healthy appetite for Homo habilis. So much so, in fact, that it literally altered their carbon isotopic levels, which directly shows us that it was even more of a human killer than other animals that are associated with hunting primitive humans. So,
Chad, what? Y'all know what that means, right?